Okay, everyone, thank you again for joining us on another episode of the How's Business podcast, where we interview business owners. So we get to learn about why did they start, what keeps them operating, what keeps them motivated. And today we are in the beautiful Toronto in New South Wales with Mr. Dave. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Doing well.
Yeah,
Good
doing
to be
well.
here.
Beautiful day.
This is my home, so I'm happy to be here. But
Yeah, so we're currently at the home office.
yeah,
Beautiful views, mate. Beautiful everything.
very eclectic. Yeah, we call it the tree house, coined affectionately, because it's sort of up in the trees a little bit. A lot of timber work, but it's a nice
How do you get
place.
any work done?
It's tricky. Nice view, but no, it's good. I think your environment's important, right? You got to be inspired by your environment. So yeah, it does that for us, I think.
Of course. So bring me right back to the beginning. So what made you start your first business? What were you doing before you started your business journey? Give us the rundown of how it all came to be.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, the journey is interesting. Did my uni degree, like a lot of people do. Started in teaching, funnily enough. Didn't complete that, but transitioned to business commerce, specifically commerce and financial, I guess, areas. So went into financial planning from there, which was very different to what I'm doing now. It's I guess it's very analytical, still people facing, but I guess that creativeness of me just wasn't really fully satisfied in that role. But from there, we started our brand Surfolkau, actually, like pretty well off the bat in COVID lockdowns. So I think it was towards the end of 2021, I believe, when like things were just shutting down, the world was ending. It felt like. I guess we were just like home a lot and realised, starting a business is something we've always wanted to do online. At the time, I was shooting heaps of film because we could only go out for a couple half an hour a day or whatever it was, and I'd always take my film camera, get some rolls of film, and I guess because like we're all on digital devices and everything so much during that period, like to go to analog and shoot film really just felt like refreshing and just grounding, I think, during that hectic time of our life. But from there, we kind of started an Instagram page around film, like being sort of the hero, and realized there's this huge community online. And I think from there, we wanted to make a product that was easy to use, help people get outdoors, go analog, and be a little bit more digital free, I guess, and create some memories and stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of took off there organically, but it's been a wild ride since then, and we're just still riding it, I think.
Yeah, amazing. So the first product was a 35mm film camera.
Yeah, well, we actually launched a few products. We had like, I guess the goal was always to be a lifestyle brand, so it wasn't always like a film camera brand. So we started with like, a tee, a tote bag, some other just merch items, I guess you could say. And honestly, the film camera was like a last edition. Like I was working on it and I'm like, do I launch this? Do I not? Ended up doing it. And to be honest, now it's like probably 80% of our sales. Like it's just been a hero. Like it's really connected with the market and people and community. So yeah, really glad I did that back in the day.
Amazing. Before we go in depth on the products and
Yeah.
ins and outs of that, you were working as a financial planner before this?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and how long, what was the transition period between financial planner and going all in business?
Yeah, so I was doing, I was like an associate role with a financial planning business in my city. Look, at the end of the day, great role, great business. I think the transition for me was really around, I think always wanting to build something on my own. Also, that creativity I mentioned, just isn't really there in finance. Great industry, but if you're creative, it's probably not the industry for you. I think I realized more and more as I was building out our business sort of behind the scenes, obviously whilst working full time, I realized more and more that was what was bringing me more joy than my actual role. I think that was a good inflection point for me to realize, like, okay, this is like, if this were full time, this would be probably the dream and something I'd want to pursue. But yeah, so I was doing financial planning for 2.5 years, I think it was in the end, post uni, and sort of started transitioning out of that as Surfolkau sort of kicked off and got some headway, got some momentum. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really talk about that little bit there where you're still working,
Yeah.
where you're launching your business as well, and you want to sell enough products or do enough of your service to cover what you need to in your day job, right?
Yeah.
Was there a day that you were at work and you sort of realized, okay, I'm here now, it's time?
I think so. I think, yeah, look, I definitely do. Like, I feel like there's two schools of thought. There's, very much the, replace your income, the same, if not more. So you can, I guess, justify that in yourself. And a lot of people, I think, honestly, it probably comes down to personality. Some people need that reassurance, that safety net. I'm probably slightly more on the risk-taking side, where I probably jumped the gun maybe earlier than I reasonably should have. But there was a point where I think that, we were selling enough product, getting enough units out there where I could see that, I'm putting in, call it, 8 hours, 10 hours a week into this thing. Are we getting these results? If I were to just, increase that, are we going to get the same sort of return or more, of course? And that proved to be true. So that was a good move for us in the end. But yeah, look, definitely worked a couple jobs in between that phase as well, because that is the I guess the part of the journey most people do skim over. I started it and we made it sort of thing. So I definitely worked a couple jobs in between there to sort of pay the way through. But definitely once I had quit my actual proper corporate job, I definitely was this is the right journey for me. I'd rather hustle a bit and make this dream come into reality than, always wonder if or could it have happened, I guess. That was my big thing. It's sort of the 80-year-old self analogy where if you could look back retrospectively, would you be proud of this decision? Would you, back yourself and that sort of thing? And at the time I was I'm not going to regret giving myself as best of a shot as I can at this thing. Yeah.
Run me through ground zero of building the brand image first. So the brand image is beautiful. Of course, I've scrolled through and
thanks.
it makes me want to buy something. But how did you create that image?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I am a co-founder. My wife also is the other
out.
co-founder.
Shout out
there. So, and she's social media aesthetically has a lot of taste, I think. So I can't take all credit for that. But she would be happy me saying this. She does say Surfolkau is very much you in a bottle, basically, being me, I guess. So, surf, shooting film, all those sorts of things. I think a lot of my personality has been poured into the brand. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
But I think definitely the brand image, I think it's definitely grown organically out of this sense of almost, it honestly kind of ties into one of our brand mission statements, which is against the grain. Obviously a pun on grain being film, but against more often or not, society has different, paths that you should take, whether it's uni, corporate, buy the house, all those things. And none of those things are bad by any means, but, just to copy and paste that sort of dream onto everyone, I think, is not really going to work for some people. So I guess against the grain is that idea of, moving against what you should do and doing what you want to do, following your passions. I think those kinds of people were what were drawn to Surfolkau, and it really, the brand image and visually even kind of grew out of that sort of, I don't know, psychology almost, I think.
One of the second guest on our podcast, his name is Aldrin, and he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said the best branding is when the brand reflects the owner because they're just being themselves. Yeah. So he has these physio clinics in Sydney, and when you go in, it's very bougie, very nice, very funky, and then you meet him as a person, he's the same way, and it's okay, I see that. And then when I look at your brand and you, it's you're just showing yourself through your brand, which makes branding a lot easier.
100%. And it kind of builds that almost, even from a strategy level, that moat around you, right? It's no one else can replicate you if you're just being you, because we're all unique and no two people are the exact same, right? So I think that's really important. And it also gives you that, if your brand is who you are as a person, when, times are tough, because, it's not a smooth journey running your own business, whether it's e-com or service-based or anything. When times are crap, and, to put it politely, if you're doing what's true to who you are, then you can actually go through those storms a bit better, I think. Whereas if you're sort of, building something that isn't genuine to you, it's very easy to be okay, maybe this isn't working, I'm tapping out. Whereas when it's yourself, you can definitely dig deep and know, okay, if I keep doing this, and this community, I think it's a big thing too. If you're, especially in e-com, your customers are your business, right? So, you're nothing without them. And so serving them, putting their needs first, and really, as well as it being about you, what they're drawn to, what the feedback they're giving, if you're following that advice or that, I guess, thread, then you can't go wrong, I think.
What advice would you give to someone starting on business? When you're scrolling, you get influenced, whether you mean to get influenced, whether it's subconsciously. You start to change how you word things. You start to change how you brand things because of what you see and what you think works. What advice do you give to people to just stay true to them? How do you do that?
I think it's I I think it's always going back to why you started, and yeah, definitely. Like, and some things are okay to transition. Like, things do evolve. Like, I do think when like, if you scroll on our Instagram far enough, you're going to see some really shocking posts. And so from that sense, I'm glad we've evolved from there. But I think the core message is has been sustained throughout our journey, which is important, I think. But yeah, my advice would be just to that first thing, really work out who you are, what sort of business you want, I think is important, because growing in a business that isn't right for you is not always going to end the best way, I think. But, in terms of branding as well, I think just leaning into your passions, leaning into the things that drive you creatively. If you are more like that example you gave, a bit more high-end bougie, what do you want to call it? Boutique, maybe. Then lean into that, of course. If you're a bit more relaxed and that's kind of the thing, that's cool too. But I think just staying true to that. And I think like as you evolve, recognizing those inflection points, and because growth, it's easy just to go with the trends, the fads, and like grow a brand that way. You could start a dropshipping store with a really trinkety product and probably do really well. But, is that, I guess, a legacy brand that you want to be proud of in 10 years' time when you look back, or potentially even exit and sell, right? Those are important things to consider as well, I think.
Is that what you want to hang your Surfolkau hat on?
Yeah.
That's really good. But at the beginning stage of your business, when you were telling people, hey, I'm going to get out of financial planning and I'm going to go all in on this, how did you ignore that noise?
Yeah, there's a bit of it. Look, I loved my colleagues, my staff, but there's probably a disconnect, like why, which is fair enough. I totally understand that. I think as well, but family as well. I'm lucky enough to have a very supportive family, but people are on their own journey. So at the end of the day, I think you need to be really confident that this is the right decision for you is the most important thing. Because if you do, like I do take advice from people, but at the end of the day, everyone is living their own life, and you do need to know that your destiny, your journey is yours, and you're in the driver's seat. So for me, it was like, I'm going to make this work no matter what, was probably my attitude. And so that probably helped keep locked on a bit and ignore some of that noise. But again, I have a very supportive wife and co-founder as well. So I like to think when one of us is a bit like, oh, I think it's going well, we support each other as well. So having those right people in your corner is really important too. And community, like, other business owners. I feel like it wasn't until I sort of went all in that I realized just like the amount of business owners around me, and then suddenly I'm like, okay, well, I actually have community I can talk to,
which is nice.
Yeah, super nice.
Yeah,
100%. And like different industries too. I got friends like my brother-in-law's in wedding photography. I got friends in like SaaS and tech, and a lot of times there's not always a huge connection, but you just know when you're having a chat with a business owner, there's a whole lot more common ground that you can work off and give advice and even hear out their opinions and perspective on your own issues in your business. So it's important to have.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to get into the in-depth business questions now.
Yeah, let's go.
For someone who's not in e-commerce, how does the space work? What are the main expenses, and how do you make your profit at the end of the day?
Main expenses are obviously going to be sort of like your COGS, so obviously like landed costs of product, freight as well is a big one. These days, or I guess there's the big schools of thought of, do you go organic, do you go paid marketing? Ultimately, I think and this is sort of more D2C, of course, to exist these days, you have to do both, I think. You have to have good organic strategy, but you also have to be doing paid, I think. I think it's hard to, especially in e-com, to get by without paid marketing, meta ads, Google, Pinterest, TikTok. We haven't done TikTok ads, so I can't speak to that yet, but I find I'm a little bit out of the nearly 30, a bit out of the TikTok age bracket at this point, but
same.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
No, not at all. I'm not dancing on anytime soon, but if it works, it works. But I think marketing costs basically.
Would you say marketing is the biggest cost?
I think it is early days.
Yeah.
I think your best time spent as an early stage e-com founder is in products and making a really good product, because despite all the marketing costs, word of mouth is still the most important marketing. If people have an average experience with your product, they're not going to tell their friends about it. They're not going to leave reviews, all those sorts of things that are kind of, I guess, the foundations of ecom.
Yeah.
But on top of that, once you have a great product, once you have a community building, marketing, is essential, I think. And really nailing that marketing, like you said before, keeping your brand true to you. If you go in a crazy direction with your marketing and it's not true to the brand, people are going to notice that disconnect. So, yeah, it's all keeping it true to the brand's messaging, image, all those sorts of things. But yeah, marketing cost is definitely required. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of other costs as well. Look, if you're doing influencer marketing, things like that, there might be a cost there, but I would still categorize that in marketing itself. So
yeah. When you first outlaid for your first products and they came in and you made your first sale, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, that was surreal. It was actually really cool. I'm pretty sure I was at my office, so I was like, that thing of like, you almost feel like you're doing the wrong thing and making sales while I'm at my other job and they don't know about it, sort of thing. But no, it's a really awesome experience. I think just any business owner will feel this at some point at the start of their journey. I think it's like that. Once you step into the realization that I can actually create wealth outside of being employed to someone, out of someone else's time, and all those sorts of things, it's a bit of an unlock, I think. I don't know if you've experienced that.
100%.
You're just kind of like, oh, cool. So I actually can generate money, building something I actually love and passionate about. Like, that's huge. Obviously, you want to amplify that and keep going and make it your thing. But yeah, that was a surreal experience. And I think, building something organically like we did through just like an Instagram account really was kind of how we started. To go from that to our metrics being likes, comments, shares, all those sorts of things, to then suddenly sales, it was like, oh wow, okay, this is actually something we could pursue potentially.
That's amazing. What was your first hero product?
Well, the first hero product was probably the camera, honestly. We had a few other things, but they kind of took off. I actually have one of our earliest renditions.
OG.
It's a little bit dirty because it's been downstairs locked away, but that was one of our first 35mm film cameras. Honestly, very similar in terms of function, still a reusable film camera, still with the flash, but we kind of realized our brand image was that aesthetic, retro. I guess probably the best word is nostalgia. We want people to feel a sense of nostalgia.
Yeah, I feel like it's retro Aussie.
Retro Aussie, yeah. Well, that works for us.
Yeah, the colors and the font and everything like that. I think Byron Bay.
Totally.
I think Port Macquarie. I think van. I used to have a van.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Van. Yeah, it was latte colored. I picture that right there.
Sick.
So yeah, I picture surf. I picture all of that. And in terms of why it's a hero product, why do you think it resonated so much with your audience that you curated that whole time?
I think film cameras themselves as a product, I think, are very look, honestly, it's not the easiest product to sell. In many ways, they're very analog, they're very tactile, and in some ways not convenient, right? It's not as easy as just taking a photo and flicking on Instagram, but I think that those friction points were the very reason that some people were just I'm done with digital. I just need a digital detox. And so a certain type of consumer, I think, really found these so awesome for that reason.
Gen Z especially.
Yeah, totally. I think just inundated with technology these days, it's like you said, it's hard to escape from, honestly. And I think this gives you a chance to essentially relive those good old days where all that didn't exist.
Yeah.
The nostalgia of actually shooting the shutter and not having the images directly there for you to look at is an awesome experience, and getting them developed. It's all very nostalgic, and I think the branding as well. Very quickly it became a coastal brand, which is always what we wanted, but it was just solidified once the cameras started selling, and we were seeing where they were going, to Byron and to Perth and Sydney up the coast, so Gold Coast, all those sorts of places were kind of became the hotspots for buyers. So and definitely we've definitely lent into that almost 70s 80s Australian surf culture vibe as well, with the branding, the colouring. We're doing a bit of a brand refresh at the moment, actually. Nothing too major, no logos are changing, but it's just going to be, I think, amplified, and that's even more, we're digging it down into that sort of...
Watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space. So.
I'm going to ask an in-depth camera question.
Yeah, go for it.
35mm, there's so many. How did you nail the functionality of the camera to make it easy enough for people to use for the first time, but also quality-wise?
Yeah, so we had a few a few models. So this is probably our third model, I would say. And each time we've just made those tweaks to make it even better. Super happy with where we're at now. But in terms of the function, yeah, so we kind of realized, like I said, I shot a lot of film back in 2021, even earlier, actually 2019, I was shooting film. And obviously I was an enthusiast, so I was happy to go on Marketplace and find like some beautiful Pentax or whatever it might be, or a Canon A1 we were talking about earlier. But for a lot of people, they aren't that camera technical. They just know they love film photos. They just love the feeling they get from seeing them. So for those people, I wanted something that's easy, compact, easy, and essentially just a point and shoot, which is what it is. There's no manual settings, there's no focus ring, things like that. It's really just loading your film, locking it in, turning your advance wheel, and firing away. Has flash, of course, because that's always a bit of fun. A lot of people take it to festivals.
So there's no manual settings at all?
No, not at all. Yeah, so just full sort of point and shoot camera. I guess it's like sort of has that feeling of the disposables while still being reusable.
Yes.
So that was important to us that we, because we all remember, shooting little disposables, and they're super fun. Like weddings, they're a big thing at the moment. Obviously, the beauty of reusable is twofold. One, you get to keep using it.
Yes.
And the second is, you get to hold onto that camera for years to come, rather than adding to landfill and just chucking it away at the end of your.
Did you have to do much education to your customers about which film to use?
Yeah, so we did initially, for sure. We actually started developing our own film as well. So we do make our own film. So we have partners who are really passionate about film, and they sort of created this film, which we're really happy with. It's sort of in likeness, because it's hard to compare film. If anyone knows, like a Kodak Ultramax 400 ISO, that's kind of what our film would replicate the most, I think. That as well has been a journey of like getting it improved, because film is a chemical miracle to get it fully right. So, but yeah, it's always a journey, and even now we want to make them like some more options, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the best thing about our cameras is they are compatible with any 35mm, so you can run, like a
Ultra
Kodak
400 and the classics, black and white.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can
amazing.
Some Fujifilm, whatever it is. So yeah, there's lots of different options there.
Retail cost?
Retail cost is $129.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so they're at this point where when people grab one, they really to be honest, we've found a lot of people take them on trips and things like that. Which obviously, think about it. If you're just working in your office, you're not really tempted to take a photo. It's usually when you're going out and doing something.
Of course.
And that's been a big part of our. I guess marketing strategy too is like we're giving them to van lifers and people who are digital nomads and doing things that I guess had that lifestyle aspiration behind it.
Yeah.
And definitely found like a big people who are doing laps around Oz and overseas and surf trips in Lombok. Heaps of female like surf retreats as well. Been hitting us up, giving cameras to all their girls and getting photos while overseas. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think. Those are the moments you do want to treasure and capture on film.
On-the-go ones. The development side of things, do you have like preferred developers that you'd send people to, or?
Yeah, so on our website we have a map actually, which has a lot of the our preferred partners in terms of film labs. But the beautiful thing since really COVID times, obviously films had this sort of resurgence.
Yeah.
And as well as that, heaps of film labs are popping up again. Ones that were on the verge of bust because of digital are kind of like, oh great, we can keep going. And some are just popping up out of nowhere, really. I think there's one, there's a few in Byron that we know the owners of.
Yeah, there's a few good ones in Byron.
Up in Gold Coast as well, so yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. In terms of the film cameras themselves, I can tell you've really thought about the customer. You've really thought about, hey, how do I load film? Hey, what film do I use? Hey, where do I develop film?
Yeah.
Hey, how does it work? Okay, cool. I understand it now.
Yeah.
Because even though you've got a love for film cameras, someone might love film but not have the love for the tech side.
Yeah.
So you've bridged that gap nicely where it's instant enough, simple enough, and you can just purchase it. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I have to ask, when you first started out, how many rolls of film did you go through before you're like, okay, the camera's good now?
Yeah, fair few actually. Yeah. I think we've tried a few. I think it's like one of those things where we wanted to get it as great, like the results to be as great as they possibly could. The beautiful thing about film is it is very forgiving, like in terms of, you know, if the lighting isn't quite right, and like if you had a digital camera, you'd be like, oh, that needs a few edits. When you shoot it on film, you kind of just like, oh, that's just such a nice image. Like, you know, I think
so creative.
yeah, it's very forgiving in a lot of ways. And I think even the imperfections of film, people do like people, you know, obviously people tag us on Instagram. We see people post their film photos, and some of them I'm like, oh, that shot maybe wasn't perfect, but you know, the light leaks come in or something, but people just love that.
The vibe.
Yeah, the vibe, I think. And I'm like, oh, that's cool to know, because, you know, it doesn't have to be the perfect shot to be something that's memorable or something that, you know, taste-wise you love, I guess. So
did you go through a big UGC campaign? Because I have an e-commerce brand as well, and the thing that really set us apart is it's a sports product, and we sent it to a bunch of Olympians that just competed at 2024.
Yeah, wow.
All of them posted about it. All of them wear it. All of them
amazing.
use it. And that just did this for our business. Like,
wow.
Did you go through a big UGC phase with marketing?
I think we have, in a sense. Like, we did probably one of our biggest collabs was with a couple, Kendall and Glenn, up on they live in a tiny home up in the hills of Byron.
Yeah.
But they've done like lap around Oz. Actually done years of van travel and that sort of thing. But we did like a collab product, actually. I don't know if I have it. It's the Nigel. It's like a yellow mustard one.
Camera?
Yeah, camera. I think I got two of our bestsellers here. I don't think I have that one here. But it's that was like a I guess, produced product.
For a business owner, how do you approach a collaboration?
Like that? Yeah. I think for us it was really finding the right person firstly. Like, it wasn't just like a cold email, hey, do you want to do this thing? It's a relationship we built over a couple of years. Doesn't have to be that way, of course, but for us it was that very much there was good rapport there, I guess, and aligned values. They love to shoot film. Their whole ethos is sort of life in the slow lane, like slowing down, so it's tied in perfectly with film. But for us it was really just kind of a like a profit share, basically, was the financial structure of it. So they would create us a stack of content, obviously use their platforms. They're mostly on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube. Huge, actually, YouTube support in their community, so that helped our sales too. But yeah, I think it's just aligning with the right people. And slightly tangent, but I just think a good attitude for most founders is to have I guess really just like with or without you energy. This is kind of the way I put it. That's not fully focused on that example I just gave, but just really having an idea that you feel very strongly and you're convicted is like the right thing, and then just like telling people, hey, this is happening, like, do you want to be a part of it, sort of thing, versus you know, just saying to people, oh, you know, would you like to do this, and having maybe more of a passive approach. I'm not like advocating just like people,
if you want something, you got to get after it.
That's right. And I think it's having that attitude of like, I'm doing this, I'm backing myself, this is going to be amazing, and this is a great opportunity, would you like to be involved, is so much more of a convicting, like,
100%
yes for people. I think
in our martial arts centers, when a parent comes in, you can sort of see them, they're not really sold on martial arts, whatever. You literally say to them, do you want your kid to have self-defense skills? Do you want your kid to be confident? Like, you just straight up. It's not being aggressive, whatever. It's just, what do you want? Do you want this? Okay, let's go. Like, 100%. Don't dilly-dally. Do you want this? Okay, let's do it. Do you want a collab? Let's do it. I feel like that's the best way for sure.
Direct but kind.
Direct but kind. In
best
coming from the right place.
100%.
I like that you're talking about founders. That's sort of where I wanted to go to next.
Yeah, for sure.
In this world, you can't just build a brand. You've got to build a founder-led brand. You've got to show your face, because consumers want to see the person behind the brand. What are your thoughts on that concept? Do you need to do that?
I think look, the answer I think is you don't need to, but I think today you are sort of handicapping yourself a bit if you don't. I think like the best way to approach it is firstly, you're very aligned to your brand, of course. If you're going to lead, you know, visually and sort of customer facing, lead something that you're not fully passionate about, then probably don't.
That's really
until you know it's
advice.
the right thing for you. But if it's aligned to your values, your vision for your own life as well as the business, like they have to align, then 100% I think it's I think you'd be doing yourself and your community a disservice to not show up and visually talk about your brand, your story, your why even. It's not something I've done perfectly, by the way.
Honestly,
we discussed this earlier. I need to do better at it. But
what stopped me on your Instagram was the pinned one where you guys tell your journey and like you see you two together and then going through the slide and like reading about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to support these guys. Like that one post alone is like, yep, this is a legit brand I want to purchase. So I think founder-led stuff is good. I like what you said about if it's truly what you are, then that's who you are. But if it's not who you are, you shouldn't be doing it. It's very good. It's like if you're not willing to put your face on it, why are you doing it?
It's a good litmus test, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be like, if I'm not proud enough to talk to camera, and like there's obviously that's a whole other conversation of how to be a founder-led brand. But if you're not confident enough to be the forward-facing, then maybe there's a disconnect there that you just need to look inward and sort that out. But yeah, no, I think most people are passionate about what they're doing and they want to see it succeed. So
love that.
Yeah, just do it.
Before I move on to the other products, can you give me like a crazy period that you had in terms of sales? Like what type of numbers are we talking? Like was your garage full to the top, full of like packaging? What happened?
I think the biggest point where we kind of felt like, oh wow, this actually has a future, I think, is probably around like sort of like that summer period, like Black Friday and Christmas of 2024, I think it would have been. Yeah, into 2025. Like we'd just been sort of plodding along. I had quit my job just the start of that year, so I was kind of like, this is the year I really need things to look like they're going to go ahead. I think we had that and rounded off our Black Friday period with like 60k months, and I was just like, oh, okay, like this is actually something we could be doing. Like, so that was like a cool moment. And again, back to the thing of like, that a sense of, okay, like I'm doing something I love, I'm passionate about the community, passionate about the products we're making, and we can make good money. Like that's just like everything's coming together. Like as business is, there's ebbs and flows of that. But that's a moment where you kind of just feel like, okay, this is legit.
Run me through your other products real quick. So we talk about the cameras. What else are we working with?
So we've got some hats there. This is sort of our apparel range. It's something we are like wanting to, expand on. So we, like I said at the start, we started off as really just a lifestyle coastal brand, which became a film camera brand. And we're now kind of going back to our roots and trying to bring in back some of the apparel that we always loved. My wife and I both love.
Shout out your wife.
Yeah, that's it. Shout out to that hat too.
Nice.
Looks good on you, man.
It's classic.
I think you're going to walk home with that one.
Yeah, you wanted to stick to like the classic apparel.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think stuff that's minimal, obviously has that coastal flair, like not like crazy graphics that feels a bit busy or whatnot. But just sticking to those roots, I guess, of the brand. Really like the cameras are minimal and nostalgic, I guess. So we're wanting to bring some more of that in. Winter's coming up here in Australia at the moment. It's a few months away, but we've got some drops coming for that, which we're really excited about. Summer as well. So we're basically planning out the full year ahead in the apparel space. We've got some other, like I guess you could say beachwear, hardware, so like can coolers. Also, don't have it here on display because it's a bit big, but a big retro
like an Esky thing,
cooler box.
Yeah,
Esky
that's
sort
really
of thing.
Cool.
Funnily enough, you can't call it an Esky because that's that's a business name. It's trademarked. So
there you go.
It's a cooler box.
Cooler box. There you go. Now you know.
Or a chili bin.
Yeah. I like that. You're sort of appealing to the same customer. So if I go to your shop, I'll get a hat for my van, or I'll get like cooler box for my van. Get a camera.
I think nice. A big part of it was, for someone, if they, not that it has to be around travel, but if someone were like doing a lap around Australia, that sort of thing, what were the products they would want, right? What are the things they would need or want? That probably drives our I guess in terms of our research and product selection, a big part of it. But it's also just true to us, like the things we love to use. Like I said, we love we love minimal coastal fashion ourselves, can coolers, shooting film, all sorts of things like that. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you a very interesting question.
Yeah.
What's it like working with your wife?
Yeah, it's good. I answer that one very quickly.
Yeah, that one ready.
No, but it is actually amazing.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's look. Obviously, no business relationship's perfect or easy, and when it's with your spouse or even just your partner, you realize quickly. It's one of those unique things where you see each other's strengths and weaknesses at the same time. Like, no one's perfect. I'm not great at everything, of course. I'll be the first to say that, and I'm sure she would say it too. But you work on each other's strengths and weaknesses. I think we do complement each other really well. I'm very much in sort of like website, email, analytics, finance sort of stuff. She's very much in like the social media world, driving that, very creative. She, design wise, can do a lot there. So yeah, we kind of complement each other in that sort of sense.
How do you separate work from home?
We try. That's probably all I can say.
It's a myth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you have to be okay with, like, there's going to be seasons where it's going to feel very blurred. When there's a product launch or a big campaign, that's going to go for across a few weeks, for example. We just kind of sit down and say, this is going to be a bit crazy, and that's okay. What we're trying to do is have, post those seasons, have, at least a week or two of a bit more of a, almost like a time out, I guess, or just like have some quality time. Go, like recently we went up to Byron for a week for another business owner friend's event, but it's kind of time for us just to, feed back into ourselves and refresh ourselves from a launch. So yeah, just things like that. I think you got to just know that life is in seasons, like business or not. Life goes in seasons, but especially in business, you need to recognize when those big seasons and peaks are going to be, and just make sure you're looking after yourself on the troughs of those, I think.
Yeah,
especially
I love
if you're a couple.
Yeah. Have you got any advice? I'm going to get into in-depth sort of e-commerce now.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you have any quick tips or tricks for people that run Shopify stores? Is there anything that you noticed that you've done that really sort of changed the projection of things, or any resources that you found online to help you through it all?
Good question. I think in terms of forums and on technical questions, there's heaps out there, but I think most importantly is knowing, finding that balance of, let's just say a website or a Shopify website, for example, is knowing when you're making a decision, for branding purposes to make it look good, and when it's a functional, conversion rate optimization decision. I think you need to balance of both. There's plenty of, call it pretty websites out there that don't convert very well. And often it's just about user experience. People maybe not considering, okay, what is the journey you want your customer to be taking when on your website? So
can you talk to me a bit more about that? What do you mean by that?
So even just terms of above the fold, most people maybe in e-commerce would know that it's sort of the first thing a customer's going to see on your website. It's even as simple as, what is the first action you want someone to take? Sometimes people just have a beautiful image and that's lovely, but if it's unfortunately people's attention spans aren't very long these days. So if you're not giving them a reason, who you are, what you do, and a reason or a next call to action, really, whether it's shop a bestseller, a new collection, whatever it is, chances are you can lose people. So yeah, just things like that I think are important. Even as far as things like increasing your average order value. For us, obviously our cameras retail at $129, but because we sell our film cameras with it,
it's little clicks.
Yeah, our average order value is closer to 180, nearly 200. So every time we're paying ads to get people to our website, the more we can get on the other end of that sale is obviously more profit for us. That marketing spend becomes far more efficient that way. So just things like that. And even can calls, things like that. For another founder, it could be another, almost a gift with purchase, free gift with purchase, free shipping thresholds, just things like that. I think I just once you start to realize, oh, okay, if I'm spending money to get people to my store, obviously there's organic as well and email and other things, but marketing does drive a lot of that traffic. How can we be the most efficient here while staying true to our brand? Because we all have seen websites where it's big flashing banners and buy now, time's running out, and that stuff might work functionally, but if we did it as a brand, it would feel like a disconnect. We're promoting slow living, lifestyle. If it felt very flashy and commercial and like everything's just an exchange.
Gimmicky.
Yeah, gimmicky. It would be a disconnect. So you want to do it true to brand, like keep it a beautiful website and aesthetic, but also just think about the functionalities of what you want customers to do, and some of those just core e-commerce, I think, functions are important to note.
How long did it take you to sort of get used to the Shopify system?
I think, look, honestly, pretty quick. Shopify is really good these days. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
It's as far as if someone was just starting out, we have our custom website now, but if someone's just starting out, honestly, the free templates are amazing. They're actually so good. Like I think you could start a website quite easily these days.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is branding. Branding's the hard part, where you are known for your values. Obviously, your product, having a hero product of some sort or a hero collection is important, and just knowing your customers, I think. But yeah, no, Shopify is amazing. I think if people were to want to start a store, or if they're already just like scaling their own existing store, there's so much potential there. The plugins and apps as well. It's just like there's just so
seamless.
many options.
Yeah. No, I love Shopify. I love that you and your wife, you have your own lanes. So she's in branding, she's in the field, she's taking that take care of that side, and you're like back end.
Yeah.
So that works really, really well. Shout out those birds.
Cockatoos flying by.
Did you make any mistakes when you're first starting out with the store that you learnt from?
Yeah, I think to start with, we definitely had some months that were quiet to start with, and we sort of think, why is this happening? I think it's just looking at that full flywheel. What I mean by that is sort of how everything, or you could call it a funnel really, but how everything connects to each other. So ads are running to your website. A certain percent, let's call it 3%, might convert in the moment. That's great. A lot of that means 90% of people aren't going to convert. So where are they going? It's probably email capture.
And you're looking at these numbers yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So email capture, where are they going? Obviously, you've got your abandoned cart flows, all those sorts of things. There's far more flows you can be having. But just sort of looking at that customer journey, I think early days we had no idea about any of that. So it was just like, we have a cool product. Why won't people buy it?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's great.
When you were at that stage where things were quiet, what was the turning point? Did you sort of see that ads were the problem or the website?
I think at the time it was almost a bit of both. I think the website, like I talked about before, having that clarity, that customer journey, I think, we started to learn more about that. So that's definitely improved and helped, conversion rate, all that sort of stuff. But ads too. I think, ads, when we started running ads in 2022, I think it would have been, things were a bit more manual back then, which is crazy. It's not that long ago, but in terms of the paid marketing space, so much has changed since then. Nowadays, Meta in particular is quite seamless. The AI generating that and driving those results is really good. You still obviously need to have know-how to understand the interface and things like that. But yeah, no, definitely. I think our ads have improved as well as we've gotten better creative, I think. So I think definitely working with the right people, again, whether it's UGC or more like influencers or even just like amazing photographers, we often will find working influencers can work, but if we find a photographer that's just amazing, honestly, just giving them products and getting some amazing imagery or videography from them. I
want to ask you a tough question.
Ads. Yeah, go for it.
Marketing agencies, right?
Yeah.
They run your Facebook ads, they run your Google ads and all that. How soon into the business sales do you think you should even look at a marketing agency, and how much do you think you can actually do yourself?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, look, I'm a big believer in learning virtually everything yourself. Obviously, this, accounting, I'm probably not going to have to do that, or to a degree. But I think learning as much as you can yourself is really integral to at least the early stage, the survival of your business, because you can outsource, you can hire an agency for email, ads,
content,
even a PR agency or a wholesale agent to get you out there, which amazing as well. None of those things are bad, and all those things can move you forward, but they're obviously coming with a cost.
I didn't even know wholesale agent was a thing.
Yeah, we looked into one.
Yeah, there you go.
We might do one this year.
How does that work? They just go to the...
They generally just have a big network of stores. Wow. Normally you want someone who's like top tier, who has even built other brands. Essentially them even having call them maybe sales reps who'll go into stores and say, hey, Surfolk, this is how they like to be branded. They actually should be facing this part of the store. What's your turnover? All those sorts of questions that if you were in the store, you'd probably be asking, but you just can't, as a founder, you can't be in all your stores.
No,
right?
of course. Yeah.
So they just
Didn't even know that.
do that for you. It's usually just percentage sort of commission or something like that. But that's just like exactly just one agency that you could, outsource to. But certainly early days, I think doing as much as you can yourself is really important, because not only one, you're saving cash flow, which is the most important thing at that early phase. But two, I think as well, you're actually learning how everything works. You're learning how all the parts work together in all the cogs in the machine, so that when you do go to an agency, you can say, hey, these are the results we've been getting. You can admit I'm limited in my knowledge. I'm just a founder. You guys do this, but I think it's more just making sure you don't have the wool pulled over your eyes when they just say, hey, you're getting these ROASs and all these results.
It costs this much.
And you're just like, cool, what's my marketing expense ratio? What's my cost per click? Or cost per purchase? What's the things that actually, are fully coming out of the cash flow?
You come in with an understanding already.
That's right. And you can sort of benchmark what you've been doing to them. And if it's, the same, that's okay, I guess. But obviously you want better results.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your money is probably better spent elsewhere. But
I love the in-depth answers. Love it. It helps a lot, because most of the listeners are business owners or people looking to get into business.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll go and get into that part there. What advice would you give to someone looking to get into business?
Yeah, I think, I honestly just think... one of the biggest things, I think I heard from Alex Hormozy. Most people know who Alex Hormozy is. Just a clip from one of his reels recently was the most money you make is when you provide as much value as possible. So providing the most value possible is the main way to generate, I think, wealth for yourself. So, value could be, if you're service based, it's probably quite clear. Your service is giving people value, you're either saving people time or making people money, usually is how it works, or creating assets like videography and stuff that can then be used for those purposes. E-com, it's providing value in the sense that your product either solves a problem, doesn't always have to, fashion brands, you could argue they're maybe not solving any problems, we all have clothes, but they're creating an identity and a lifestyle that people aspire to have, and perhaps that is solving a problem in their life, and that's sort of the direction. For us, obviously, having film cameras, very analog product, is a deliberate positioning, obviously, against digital cameras, is to give people a sense of relief from just a crazy digital world where they're probably feeling like they're just a part of this big consumer society where everyone's monetizing off their attention online. They just feel like they can disconnect, capture memories, and almost plug into the real world and make memories with their mates and take photos and all those sorts of things. So, you could argue that is that solving a problem? Potentially.
Yeah, so I like that you're saying provide value, and that's the answer. What about those that are scared to take that jump? What advice would you give someone who is scared to take the jump and go all in on business? Yeah,
I think you need to assess your situation. Everyone's financial situation might be different. If you've got some savings there, you can be like, okay, I'm going to go all in and live off that. That could be a strategy. I would believe in getting some momentum, proving mostly to yourself that okay, this is something I can pursue full time potentially, or part time at least. But at the end of the day, I think if someone is an entrepreneur, they're just going to have that burning desire to make it, to do the thing and make it work. And if you have that, then you probably will, regardless of how you get there, whether you wait till replacing your income or you jump early like I probably did. I feel like if you have that, you're going to find a way to make it happen. So just betting on yourself if you feel that. Again, yes, providing value, you need to make sure whatever you're doing is providing value to either an individual or the marketplace as a whole. Because that's, money is attracted to value. And I think the other thing is, what I was told early days is money loves speed. So if you are thinking about it, probably just get started. Don't think, maybe next year life will change a bit, things will slow down, maybe then I can start my business.
Just do it now.
Just do it now, because the things you find out along the way mean so much more than any like pre-planning you'll do.
Yeah.
Like if you just plan the perfect execution of a drop, or if it's e-com, or if it's a service base, this is my pitch, how I'm going to get customers, like that almost means nothing until you actually do the thing. And then you find out.
I always tell other people in business that ask me for advice, I say, you might have lost this little opportunity here, but the skills that you've learned along the way, they're going to help with the next thing.
100%.
And then they come back to me later, you know what? Because I learned how to do this then and failed, I actually did it again in this other scenario, and it helped me so much.
Yeah, 100%.
It always comes back around, and you're never really losing, you're just learning.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds super cheesy, but it's honestly the truth.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, and it's just like I was thinking like a tool belt. Every time you're doing something, you're just adding to that tool belt.
Yeah.
You've got stuff to take into your future, whether it's another venture or just to, scale your current one.
Yeah, just make enough to make ends meet, and then the rest is learnings. And the more you can learn, the better. And then you cash out much, much later.
100%.
To wrap up, what is next for Surfolk?
For Surfolk, I think for us it is really expanding the product range. Like I said, like our cameras have been, a hero product for a while now, and we're actually bringing out a few different products. We do have a digital screenless camera coming out soon. So it's going to be essentially a digital camera, but it has no screen out the back.
Nice.
So it gives people that, I guess, nostalgic feel, but with modern ease, really.
Backup.
As a backup. Yeah, that's right. Because some people, they love the idea, but they just think, I don't have time to shoot film. I don't know where to send it. So there are those, those friction points, and it's just like to give them a little bit of an easier option. The film enthusiasts will always choose film, though, because they love the look. We're also going to be on the Iconic next week.
Nice.
So we're going to be expanding
Congratulations
to their platform. Yeah, thank you. It's been a journey, but yeah, it's a really great platform. Of course, most people, I think, we've got a pitch deck and all those things. And I'm told, I think 1 in 5 households around Australia orders from the Iconic, so it's potentially going to be a great platform and channel for us.
It's going to be an incredible platform.
Yeah.
And last question for you: what is the best piece of business? What is the best piece of business advice you have received?
Ooh, I think it would be to just believe in your ability to figure things out. I think it's kind of broad and ambiguous, but I feel like there's actually a skill in figuring things out and actually backing yourself in that sense. So I've always believed, I'm definitely not the best marketer, definitely not the best even product developer, all those sorts of things. Technical, SEO, I'm terrible at. There's so many things, but I've always backed in my ability to figure things out. And I think when you are an entrepreneur, and you have that tenacity within you, you just know, okay, like if I don't know how to do this thing, that's cool. Give me a week, I'll figure it out. You have to be an expert at everything, and that's what teams are for, and growing team, and agencies. If that's your journey, but yeah, just that ability to figure things out. And if you feel like you have that, then just back yourself and believe in it, because you will figure it out if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, amazing. Honestly, I want to thank you so much for coming on the pod. I got a lot out of it. I know a lot of the listeners will get out of it. I know a lot of the listeners will love it. There's so much juicy content to get out of this thing. The e-commerce stuff, the founder stuff, the mindset stuff, it's all great things. If you want to follow Dave's journey, I'll leave his links down below. If you want to have a look at the products, I have his links down below as well. But honestly, thanks so much for coming on the pod, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, dude. It's great.
Beautiful. That's it, bruv.
You.